Hello everyone and welcome to Driven Mad.
Now we're doing something we've got no clue what we're doing.
Well, I've got a bit of a clue. I'm going to be ripping the turbo off Murdoch.
Clearly I'm meaning business today.
Yeah, Dad's here dressed for the occasion.
Nothing.
I'll be handing him the parts to inspect and put on the floor.
That's nasty, isn't it? So that's how I live my life, that is.
But any bit that doesn't look good, Dad's good at sandblasting and powder coating, so I'm sure...
And cleaning.
And cleaning. So Murdoch's going to look pretty good once it's done, but today we're just going to try and rip the turbo off. I'm guessing this will be a two-part bit. This will be one video taking it off and getting it up to Lisbon, and then the second video will be reinstalling it, I would guess. So today we're going to get it off.
Which will only be that for them.
Yeah, it'll be very quick for you, but I'm going to try and take the airbox off. I think we'll have to take the EGR cooler off. And then we should have pretty good access to the turbo. So let's move in, and I'm just going to take it apart, and you're going to follow along with me because I've got really no clue on what order to do it.
I just said that, and you said you knew exactly what you were doing.
No, I know what I'm doing. I just don't know what order I'm doing it in.
Well, I think we'll be the judge of that.
Yeah. Right, so here's the airbox. Now, if you hear Dad rummaging around in the background,
which you will,
apologise, because he's got a mic on. So,
for what reason?
There you go. Look, you can hear him already making all his noise. God, I'm going to be editing this. It's going to do my head in on the editing. I know it. And there's one more clip down here.
Freak out!
Surprisingly big housing on there. Look. So this should give us a fair bit of space as well. Right, so there's the housing come off. Now this, we haven't done the air filter for probably a year now. And if you can hear that water running,
it's not me weeing myself.
It's not Dad weeing himself, no. It's, I'm just letting all the coolant drain out.
Because at my age, it can just dribble out.
Old filter, there it is, done.
Quite clean.
I'll start with this pipe, make life a bit easier. Go. Right, take off the oil breather. Right, okay, the ends come out with it, but doesn't matter. And there's another one exactly the same as this clamp down on the turbo, which I'll just undo as well. Right, so I'm just taking off the one on the end of this pipe down here. Nearly. There we go. Right. That's the intake pipe off.
Ooh, dirty bastard.
Now, this is interesting because we've never ever looked inside the turbo, and I wonder if it's got loads of play in it. God, a tiny bit of wobble, certainly not much. But if we can see down there, hang on. So inside isn't bad at all. You can see there. Fairly clean for its age, I reckon. So down the bottom on here we got a size 10 and it's a size 7 up there. You got a size 7 or a flathead, either or. This pipe will give us a nice bit of access to the turbo.
Enough.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Hey!
Oh, that's oily.
Yeah, it's very oily. So a fair bit of oil came out of that intercooler pipe there, look. So, don't really know what that means, but a little bit of wobble in the turbo, but I wouldn't say it's catastrophic. But what do I know about turbos, eh? Right then, so I think we'll get this heat shield off here at the back first to see what we're working with on the turbo. There's a size 10 there and 2 size 10s there, and we should be off. Make sure don't drop the washers on the nuts. And that's the heat shield offed. Right, now we can see a bit better as to what we're working with. Now, the access wasn't great when we sprayed it all with penetrating fluid. So you can see here that we'll probably spray, well, I'm going to spray these with penetrating fluid from the top. Now I think for ease of access, I'm going to take off the EGR cooler here because the turbo bolts need to come off from under here and we don't have access to those bolts. So we'll just start getting this off. So if we larrup that in some fluid. So we'll take the EGR off first. We have just done this actually. That's one, Okay, and the washer. Now would be probably a good time to ask if anyone has a link or knows a website I can buy gaskets for the throttle body here. They're triangular. I can only find them in a square set, or if anyone knows a kit that I can make my own gasket from, let me know. But I would like to buy some sort of OEM gaskets for that, because you can see I've put a bit of gunk around, but it's still leaking at the bottom slightly with a bit of oil. So if anyone knows where you can get those, drop it down in the comments. That would be massively appreciated. Thank you. Right, so the two long bolts come out, top of the EGR, and then that can literally just come off. We've just got the one vacuum line, which I'll just take off. There we go. There's one EGR. Now, so that looks like so they're a size 7 on the, and we'll undo the other pipe on the other side. Now, since I've drained the coolant, hopefully this will not be too full of water. We'll start off with this one, which holds a bracket to this pipe. Now, the question is, have these ever been off? Probably not. Even though I'm filming it, I'm going to just take some pictures because it's easier. Stays loose. So if we keep these, we can probably put a few of them back on. So I'm going to try taking off the ones that look like they're holding it on. Leave them and see if it'll just come off all. Thank you. If we get any sort of movement, because here where this goes down, it goes back into the thermostat housing, this bit of pipe, and also splits off down near the turbo. They look very corroded, so there's something still holding that in, but what is it?
Oh, he's horrible.
Yeah, but there's like a sort of pipe that comes off behind the EGR cooler and attaches to the EGR cooler at the front here, and the sort of bit where it joins to the engine there is here. So I'm going to undo those two bolts, and they're size 12s as well. We'll get them off and hopefully it will come free. These don't look like they've ever been off.
Happy days.
We've now undone that, those two. It's very similar to this right here, but just down there. And we're going to now pull it off. So we need to just get this pipe off somehow. It's dead tight. There we go. Nice. And we's off. You can see there now we've got full access to our turbo, which is very cool. Very cool indeed. Now, what's intriguing me here is that I wasn't sure and couldn't find out exactly which it was. I saw some that were oil cooled, some that were water cooled. But there's a, you can see, I don't know if you can see here, but there's a sort of T-junction in this completely rotten pipe that I'm going to replace. Good find. And it goes down along here and into the turbo right here. But also, there's a little line here which goes into the turbo there. So this to me looks like it's water and oil cooled. So I'm intrigued to get this heat shield off and have a bit more in-depth look. So let's waz them off. Cool. Whoops, so I slowed it down.
Some shat coming out of that. Whee. Okay.
And then there's just a little size 10 by the looks of it. He's a little devil. He's the last one though. Oh, we love a nice little bit of aesthetic metal to powder coat and sandblast. No insulation in that, so you can.
It's nice and tight.
Yeah. We'll take off this oil feed line first, size 17.
Best of luck. Oh, nice one.
Yeah. Now this will have 2 copper washers and it's going to leak oil everywhere, but we're just going to have to Grin and bear that.
Hello.
Right. So there's copper washer on the top, and there'll be a copper washer underneath that line as well. Now down on the right side of the turbo near the manifold there are two water lines. They're exactly the same as the oil line but slightly bigger, spanner size, and they're a pain in the ass to get off. As you can see, it's not big enough to actually get a socket down there, so we had to use spanners, and it just took some time, but we got there eventually. Now we've lifted the car up, removed the front right hand wheel, and we're taking out the fender well lining so we can get some better access to the side of the engine. And you can see there are 4 bolts holding the turbo on. We've also got a little heat shield to take off there, which I'm sure that'll be powder coating at some point, and we've also got a lot better access to the exhaust. Now speaking of the exhaust, that's the next job. So there's one hanger that's attached to the bell housing of the gearbox, so you've just got to undo that. That was really easy. And then the 2 bolts actually holding the downpipe onto the turbo were just really rusty, and we tried it with our impact gun, it didn't work. We tried it with our air impact gun and it didn't work, so I actually resorted to a breaker bar which just cranked them loose. There's only 2 of them, but they were big and rusty on mine, so make sure you soak them in penetrating fluid. We actually forgot to do that. That's probably why it was so hard. So exhaust is now undone. Bracket was easy enough, so that's just hanging now off from the turbo. We'll lower the car down, clear?
Yep.
Lower the car down and we'll get the 4 bolts off the turbo to the manifold through the wheel arch, because that seems to be the easiest access. Right, so we've got this pipe here which needs to come off, and we've got the 4 main bolts for the turbo as well, which have got to come off. But they're through here and they look like a size 12, so we'll get the impact gun on those because it'll be a lot easier, and then we'll see. Ow.
Ow, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Nice one.
Right, there's little shieldy off. Oh, he needs powder coating. Now the camera turned off and I didn't realise, and I just continued working. Now you can see I've removed the 2 lower bolts that hold the turbo to the manifold, and now I'm going to figure out how to remove the upper 2 because the pipe's in the way. I'm still struggling to get these 2 upper bolts off. So what we're going to do is take this pipe off, but we can't really bend this. It's a rock hard pipe, so I've decided to undo these 2 size 10s. There's one here and one behind, and if we can get this all out of the way, then we should have a clean line straight through to that top bolt, is my plan. So let's have that off. Right, so up behind there. Yeah, right, there's number 1 off. And I'm using a spark plug style socket. That bit I've just unbolted doesn't fit out the turbo. Try pulling it down.
Oh, I see.
See what I mean?
That's a bit
So
bizarre,
I
isn't
need
it?
to take the pipe off, and then I need to be able to tilt that bit of metal piping up. So we're almost there. If you can get that off, we're in. Need to get that bit of pipe off, which is coming down. Come on, you beauty. Nice one. Well done, Badge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now with that pipe removed, I can figure out a way using all my flexi joints and extensions to remove the upper 2 bolts that hold the turbo to the manifold. Right, I've got it. That's it.
Nice.
Way! Turbo's out, y'all. God, it's a little turbo, isn't it?
It's heavy.
God, it's a puny little devil. The heavier, the biggest bit's that bit of downpipe on the back. It's a weight.
Cool.
Oh, can you hear that? A little bit of wiggle in it. Not much though.
Not much.
Cool, right, plonk that down. Right, now that concludes part 1 to the turbo rebuild series. Now you can see here a picture of me inside HP Turbo's office, looking at all these beautiful turbos and all these things that were much bigger than mine. Now they had some really nice turbos in there. I've sent this off for a full rebuild, brand new. It should be super sexy and the truck will certainly love it. So stay tuned for when I put it back in. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.
One day I'll change all of my touching my